Tonight, reaction to the province halting the Marshals service proposal for tactical gear. Honoring the 150th anniversary of the Treaty 6 signings. And a historic medical procedure at the Children's Hospital.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. The Saskatchewan government has told the Saskatchewan Marshals services to freeze on their proposed spending spree. The provincial law enforcement agency was trying to buy tactical gear for a new specialized unit, something the Premier and Community Safety Minister claimed they knew nothing about. Jacob Carr has more.
Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, along with Minister of Community Safety Michael Uyghur, both say they were unaware of a now cancelled request for bids on a range of tactical gear for the Saskatchewan Marshals Service.
The government's asking some questions with respect as to whether that RFP should be moving forward.
The RFP, or request for proposals, listed sniper rifles, sound cannons, and night vision goggles as equipment intended for use by a new special response unit. Uyghur now saying the Marshals Service still has many steps to be taken before a tactical unit could be up for discussion.
The Marshals has to get to full capacity of the 70 sworn officers, which is the target, and then there has to be collaboration and communication with our policing partners to determine if a specialized response unit actually does fit in.
Uyghur also said Chief Marshal Robert Cameron was also unaware of the purchase order and that the matter has been handled internally. The provincial opposition calls it a lack in chain of command.
This isn't the way a modern law enforcement agency should operate. Saskatchewan is in the midst of a public safety crisis, and there should have been no reason for this government to waste time, resources, or public dollars on unnecessary equipment.
The Premier said this week the Marshals are intended to play a supportive, collaborative role with Saskatchewan's other police forces. Uyghur says talent recruitment is the key focus point.
That's really where my focus is as the Minister of Community Safety. How do we make our communities safer? We build up our police force in the province. We talk about the good work that they're doing, the opportunities that are there for people interested in a career in policing.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Well, earlier this week, they were spotted in Saskatoon. Now new speed cameras are appearing on Regina's Ring Road. The new cameras are part of a provincial changeover from a previous photo speed enforcement vendor who ended their contract with SGI earlier. Unlike the previous box-based cameras, these are pole-mounted. SGI said this week no new speed camera locations were being added and fines will stay the same. Two members of the Regina Police Service have earned international recognition for their work on the service's aerial support unit. Sergeant Steve Wyatt, the pilot, and crew member Constable Corey Neufeld received the Fixed Wing Operator Award from the Airborne Public Safety Association. Now, last year, their work on the plane led to 480 arrests and 900 charges being laid. They also found an unconscious person in a green space and were able to direct officers to their location, saving the person's life. Well, it will be an important weekend at Fort Carlton as people celebrate the 150th anniversary of the Treaty 6 signing. There are numerous events and ceremonies planned, a chance to honor the historic treaties and bring people together. Stacey Hine has more.
Celebrations are underway at Fort Carlton as Treaty 6 marks its 150th anniversary. Chiefs and community leaders lead the grand entry to honor the historic milestone. Many here say being a part of this moment is a powerful experience.
Well, amazing. We saw an eagle during the grand entry. It was obviously even made it more amazing.
This is a historic event that you won't see any other time in your lifetime, and that's something that people should take very seriously.
Fort Carlton hosts 4 days of events. It's one of the sites where Treaty 6 was negotiated and signed in 1876. The original Treaty 6 manuscript, normally kept in Ottawa, has made a rare return to the site and is on display this weekend.
It felt like it was coming home to us. The good intent that our ancestors did to negotiate for all of us and seeing it on paper.
For me, it was quite surprising to see the size of the document itself because I assumed it was just one document, but seeing, I believe there was 11 in total, was something else.
I just came to see the document, like that's a piece of history that I'm never going to see again.
The chief of Beardy's in Okamas's Cree Nation says a year of planning ahead has led to a moment he's proud to be a part of.
It's been definitely a humbling feeling, being around all the leaders and elders and learning the ceremony portion and having our treaty bundle brought home, and definitely a huge feeling of gratitude for me.
Thousands are expected to attend this site over the next few days, with a commemoration event Sunday afternoon to mark the end of treaty negotiations. The Governor General is expected to be in attendance. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Fort Carlton.
That's going to be a busy weekend in Fort Carlton. Going to be a busy weekend all across the province. So, Sabine, what can we expect this weekend for weather-wise?
A lot of sunshine and warm temperatures. Much of what we've been seeing over the last few days, that's just continuing as we head into the weekend. Now, Sunday will be a different story. We could see some scattered precipitation, slight chance of some storm activity coming through, but even then the systems look like they're moving quite quickly, so not expecting something to last too long. Temperature-wise, today we got up to about 26 degrees when the average is about 24 or 25, so a little warmer than average, and as I've been saying, we're going to continue to see these temperatures heading into the weekend and actually beyond, even into next week. If we take a look at what's happening on the radar satellite, not much to show you. We haven't really even seen much in terms of cloud cover. That'll change as we get into tomorrow night. I'll talk more about that coming up in your full forecast, but temperatures are still sitting quite nice in the mid to high 20s for many parts of southern Saskatchewan, but I'll have all the details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
Thank you, Sabine. A 13-year-old boy from Regina played a significant role in a historic medical procedure at the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital. Surgeons were able to remove a specific portion of the boy's brain that was causing him to have seizures. Carla Sinkaruk has more on the advanced brain surgery.
Noah Dobson's life changed when he was 11 years old. He started having seizures because of a brain tumor.
He was put on 2 medications at the time. They seemed to be working. Unfortunately, the seizures ended up coming back and getting worse.
After surgery in 2024, it was determined another one was needed. Last month, electrodes were put on his brain to see where the seizures were coming from.
And actually, we found that it was not just the tumor. It was also part of the brain called the insula. And so we, based on that information, we were able to plan a surgery for him.
That was the surgery to remove a section of his brain. A big concern was trying not to affect language or vision.
And we want to try to avoid those areas, obviously, to not cause any problems, but to still treat the epilepsy that he was having.
Before having this team of children's specialists at JPCH, kids would have been going elsewhere for the surgery, being separated from their support system.
They don't need to travel to other provinces or even other countries to have this done. We can be close to family.
So having this procedure available here puts Saskatchewan right up there with world-class hospitals.
It's offering in centers like Harvard University, Los Angeles, and in many other places that are trying to catch up with this technology.
Noah is seizure-free since surgery, which is very encouraging. He's grateful to Dr. Prasad and the entire medical team.
I kind of thank him a lot, and he's awesome.
Is it because he helped you?
Yeah.
Yeah? To be the first kid that he could help here in Saskatchewan?
In just over a week, he expects to be in grade 8 full-time.
And looking forward to school.
And he is literally like a little celebrity there. It's so cute.
After a summer very different from that of his classmates, he knows his return to school will come with plenty of questions. Carla Sinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, another child dealing with a medical condition has the support of the entire Yorkton Fire Department. For the third time, the Parkland Firefighters are participating in the Queen City Marathon, raising money for the 3-year-old who is dealing with a rare genetic disorder. Regina DeClute has more.
Yorkton firefighters risk their lives for the community every single day, and their service continues even when they are not on the clock. This year, they are preparing to run the Queen City Marathon for a little boy named Lenny.
He's a crazy little dude, as most little boys are. Doesn't skip a beat. He's my little shadow. He likes working on cars with me, washing cars, stuff like that.
The youngest of 3 siblings, Lenny lives with a rare condition.
Our son, Lennox, was born with a rare genetic condition called hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia. It affects skin, hair, teeth, and sweat gland development.
His daily struggles include growing hair and teeth, as well as overheating due to his inability to sweat.
We did have to do a lot of our own research, and we actually kind of teach a lot of doctors about the condition. There isn't really anyone that specializes in his condition around here.
The family traveled to Minneapolis last year for a conference to better understand the condition. They also need a lifetime supply of cooling vests and various services. So the Yorkton Firefighters started fundraising earlier this summer, seeking funding from local businesses. And soon, they will run the Queen City Marathon to raise more funds and awareness.
Marathon is a challenge for us. If Lenny can go through what he's going through, how old he is as well, then we can go through a struggle ourselves of running a marathon, even though we're not all pristine runners.
Above all, Lenny's family is looking to educate the public about AGD.
He's still a normal little boy, just a few extra little challenges.
The firefighters will be running in Regina on the second weekend of September. Donations can be dropped off at the Yorkton Fire Hall. Regina Declute, CTV News, Yorkton.
A big boost for virtual healthcare, one of the province's pillars to try to improve medical access in Saskatchewan. The federal government is adding more funding, and as Keenan Sorokon tells us, the latest healthcare hub is now months away from opening.
The federal government is adding another $5.4 million of funding for the virtual health hub at Whitecap, Dakota First Nation. When complete early next year, the virtual health hub will act as a command center, connecting dozens of remote and northern communities to needed medical services without having to spend hours or days in a plane or car to get to a clinic.
To me, this is not only an investment, it's also infrastructure that is going to be delivered for people. It is a healthier community, it is a stronger economy, and it is a stronger future.
Indigenous Services Minister Mandy Gomasti understands the difficulties all too well. She spent 3 days traveling from her remote community in northern Quebec to have an ultrasound when she was having children. Now, robotic ultrasonography allows a technician in Saskatoon to do that work to patients in Stony Rapids, nearly 800 kilometers north.
This is something that, really spoke to me in a very personal way and resonated with me. Families do have to travel. They have to be away from home.
Chief Darcy Bear says Stanley Mission spends more than $1 million every year on transportation for women to receive ultrasounds. The virtual health hub is aiming to reduce and eliminate those trips altogether.
This is going to be truly a game changer, and it's all public health care.
This game changer is getting the attention of the Pittsburgh Penguins, the National Hockey League Players Association, and the Department of National Defense, who have all had meetings with Bear.
The anxiety you get just getting into an ambulance, can you imagine the anxiety that people in the North feel having to fly away from home to get care? So this is why the virtual health hub is so important.
The health hub is slated to open early next year, serving 30 communities with plans to connect to 90 different locations by 2029. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Whitecap, Dakota First Nation.
1.3 million people. According to Stats Canada earlier this year, that's the amount of Canadians 15 years old or older that identified to them as being a part of the LGBTQ2S+ community. And about 105,000 identify as transgender or non-binary. As Damien Smith tells us, when it comes to acceptance amongst society, Saskatchewan, when it comes to transgender, is low on the list.
Saskatchewan has the lowest rate of gender diversity acceptance in the country, according to Statistics Canada. In the province, women had a 69% acceptance rate and men at 60%, compared to a national average of 77% for women and 70% for men.
It's concerning because we obviously want to create safer spaces and to have people feel better and more accepted. And with these narratives that spread hate and fear, it's really hard to promote that.
It also found that since 2018, there has been a decline of people across the country who agree that people should be able to express their gender however they choose. Stats Can says declines were steeper among men in all jurisdictions except for Saskatchewan and Alberta, where the decline was steeper among women. The survey took place from October of 2024 to July 2025 and was developed with Women and Gender Equality Canada as part of the federal government's strategy to prevent and address gender-based violence.
And the data very much, they allow researchers and policymakers, victim service providers, other organizations to measure the effectiveness of programs that they may have in place, as well as to develop strategies to prevent victimization.
According to Statistics Canada, around 48,500 people submitted responses in this survey, of which 1,600 came from Saskatchewan.
1,600 people is nothing compared to 1.26 million people that are living in Saskatchewan. That represents 0.1% of the population.
To increase the acceptance rate, Alvarez says education should be used to bridge the gap on something like identity that is intimate, personal, and individual.
At the end of the day, we're all humans, and we all want to feel safe and accepted and loved. It's not nice to discriminate against others, no matter what.
Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Well, how do you spell square? S-Q-U-A-R-E, right? Well, not if you're looking for a little outdoor fun in downtown Regina. The Court at the Square, S-K-U-A-R-E, are open just in time for I Love Regina Day after nearly 2 years under development. Mick Favel was at the ribbon cutting and gives us a glimpse of what it's like.
After nearly 2 years of development, the first phase of the square on 12th Avenue is now open to the public. Located right off Pat Fiacco Plaza, the area has been turned into an activity zone filled with games and built for accessibility.
We're doing this for the community. We want to make sure that people who were really tired of seeing a dusty lot for the last 3 or 4 years have something to enjoy and participate in and feel a part of their community.
A sod turning ceremony on the property took place in October 2024. This vendoring shows the original vision of the completed project, which was supposed to be finished in 2025. Since then, planning has gone back to square one due to a building on the property being knocked down and more space becoming available.
Once we knew that we wanted to do a little bit of a redesign, that we knew that that would push the full development into 2027, and we didn't want this to be vacant for the rest of the year.
$1.5 million are being allocated to the square. A number of the original pieces, like a performance space, food vendors, and a liquor license are all still part of the plan, something Mayor Chad Pashinsky says is developing at a good speed.
Even if it's not the end forever thing, if it still adds to the vibrancy of our downtown, if it still adds to the overall sentiment of our downtown, and that's a positive step.
Public use and feedback gathered this summer will directly inform the design of Phase 2 and what the 6,000 square foot space will look like next.
The goal is, the more people we have downtown, the better, and so that'll be the priority for sure. But obviously activating a space in the near term, I'd rather see that than see something that's vacant.
Phase 1 of the square will be available to the public in time for I Love Regina Day on Saturday and will be open until October 10th. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
So an outdoor games room, at least to start. Regina's Shake the Lake is underway at the Connexus Arts Center. Show stage performances kicked off this afternoon with Regina's School of Rock, giving young musicians a chance to warm up the crowd. The outdoor music festival includes performances by Honeymoon Suite, Sugar Ray, 5440, Smash Mouth, and more. Still ahead, trade talk continues as Trump's midnight tariff deadline approaches. And if you think our winter is bad, imagine spending 8 months in the Arctic. Well, it's coming down to the wire again. If a new trade deal isn't reached by midnight, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened 50% tariffs on a wide range of Canadian goods. Another day of intense negotiations in Washington as a result, with very little information shared with the public. Vasi Capellos has more.
Well, there are a couple of really important things from a political perspective I think we can take from what's unfolded over the past few days, even the past few hours. The very fact that the Canadian negotiating team has been engaged as long as it has with their counterparts in the United States, even since the extension of the 338 tariffs, tells you there's actually a lot left to negotiate, despite the framing from the U.S. president as, almost a fait accompli. Those details are really salient. I'm going to tell you why using one example, the steel sector. Right? So baseline tariffs, we understand from our reporting and others, will go from 50% to 25%. But the U.S. intention is to impose a quota. So steel under that quota will get 25%, but over the quota will be subject again to more punishing tariffs. So what is that quota? That's what's being negotiated right now. And it's actually a really important number because it's going to help us assess the metrics and the veracity of this deal overall. The second thing I'm really focused on is the politics of all of this. And that is because there are a few interesting things germinating from these negotiations. And the first appears to be that we will accept a baseline level of tariffs. And that's not exactly something I would say that the Canadian public has been primed for by the Prime Minister. He talked a lot about getting the best deal compared to other deals, but the other deals are not great. So if ours is not great, but not the worst, is that enough to land with Canadians who haven't really been primed for the possibility that it might not be that great of a deal at all? I think that's really a challenge for the Prime Minister when the mood of the public, as public opinion polling shows, is so much geared to not wanting to concede more to the president, to stand up to the president. How is he going to kind of reconcile those things if, in fact, the deal appears to be what it is and there is a baseline level of tariffs that remain? That's a big political vulnerability for him moving forward. Vashi Capellos, CTV News, Ottawa.
Victims of state prosecution hope a memorial national monument officially opened in Ottawa will be a place to learn, grieve, and celebrate.
Today we are unveiling a monument of great significance to our country. Thunderhead tells the compelling story of the 2S LGBTQI+ rights movement in Canada.
The monument was funded through a settlement in a class action suit brought by more than 700 people in the military and public service. They said there was a government purge from the 1950s into the 1990s based on people's sexual orientation or gender identity. $15 million of the $145 million settlement was set aside for this monument and memorialization exhibits. 12 brave researchers are making last-minute preparations for their 8-month trip stuck in the ice through the heart of the Arctic. And that crew includes a Quebec-born researcher who is leading the scientific efforts on board. Garrett Berry has more on what the scientists are hoping to learn.
The 26-meter-long Terra Polar Station is home for now for Quebec-born researcher Maxime Geoffroy, a scientist with the Marine Institute in St. John's. He and his team of 11 other sailors are in Norway tonight for last-minute preparations before a trip of a lifetime.
So it seems like it's going to be the start of something that is a bit nerve-wracking. In reality, I think it will be a bit of relief that finally we reached it.
Soon they'll drive their vessel deep into the Arctic ice and will drift at the mercy of the ice flows while conducting environmental research on the ice in the ocean.
In that sense, we're like astronauts that have been trained to collect data and do science for many other groups.
It'll be 8 months before Geoffroy and his team will get replaced by a second team of scientists and get to go home.
That would be a first as well. So that's learning how to navigate and cope with this and do good science in this kind of environment. To me, is quite exciting.
The expedition is run by the Terra Ocean Foundation. The entirety of the boat's trip through the Arctic ice is expected to take more than a year. The journey aiming to study the place most hard hit by climate change, mapping the ice, the snow, the plankton underneath, and the gases in the sky.
The climate is kind of accelerating, climate change, and I think the Arctic is is where they have the answer of what's going to be the fate of the future.
It took many tests to ensure the crew were capable of what will be a taxing and demanding trip. They'll spend more than 4 months in polar night with very little exposure to the sun. Geoffroy says as a boy from northern Quebec, he's maybe a bit more prepared than most for the cold, the dark, and the thrill of this journey. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Still ahead, a genius at age 4. We meet the Calgary kid who aced a well-known IQ test.
Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame is readying to welcome the class of 2026. Monday on Your Morning, who will join Chris Getzlaff in the hall, how they'll be celebrated, and how you can be there.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at what your weather is expected to look like heading into this weekend. Great way to start off. Today warmed up quite nicely at 26 degrees. Currently in Regina, we're sitting at 25 with the winds just over 20 kilometers an hour. And I don't really have much to show you for our radar satellite. We haven't really been dealing with much in terms of active weather today. There will be a little bit of a change when it comes to active weather heading into Sunday. But in terms of our radar satellite for today, it was mostly clear and sunny conditions right across the province. Now, as we head into tonight, clear conditions remain, and for most of tomorrow, clear conditions remain. It's not until we get into the evening that we start to see cloud cover. With the rain that we're seeing or expecting to see in Alberta, that cloud cover is starting to slowly roll in later in the day. Saturday into the evening, we'll see much more cloud cover expected. And then by Sunday is when we start to see that rain. So we have a system coming in from the south. We'll see it clip through areas like Assiniboia over into the Estevan area. And this is first thing Sunday morning. Now, it's a quick moving system. As that clears out, though, we have another system returning Sunday evening. Now, Regina could see some of this rain arrive in the area as well later on in the evening. As of right now, we don't see it pass through on the map. But as of right now, Sunday is the day where many parts of southern Saskatchewan, there is a low chance of some showers throughout the day. Into the afternoon, early evening, could see some storm activity. But right now, in terms of what we're expecting rainfall total-wise, it's looking like we could see anywhere between 1 to 3 millimeters, and in certain areas, locally higher amount for Regina. As of right now, it's looking like in the evening into the overnight could be up to about 5 millimeters of rain. But the temperatures are remaining in the mid to high 20s right across the province. North Battleford tomorrow, 29, mainly sunny. 28 mainly sunny for Saskatoon, 25 and sunny for Yorkton. And over in the southwest, we're going to continue to see very warm temperatures getting into the 30s for Maple Creek and Swift Current, 31, mostly cloudy for Maple Creek, a mix of sun and cloud for Swift Current, and Moose Jaw, a mix of sun and cloud and 30 degrees there. As we take a look into the southeast, similar story, 30 degrees for Assiniboia, a mix of sun and cloud, 28 for Weyburn, mainly sunny, and 27 and mainly sunny for Estevan. All the areas that we've looked at on this map will see clear conditions tonight, but also some areas a little cooler. 6 degrees for Weyburn tonight, 7 for Estevan. Now, the average low is about 9 or 10 degrees. So we're still within that seasonal range. Just looks much cooler just because now we're starting to see some single-digit temperatures. 9 tonight for Regina, mainly clear, and then tomorrow again, mostly clear conditions. Nothing but sunshine all day tomorrow. 28 is the expected high. And then in terms of what's to come for our next 7 days, still looking quite nice. As I mentioned, though, by Sunday, 30 degrees is the expected daytime high, but Sunday's the day where we could see a chance of some precipitation. Mainly sunny, winds picking up to 45 kilometers an hour. Sunday night, though, could see up to about 5 millimeters of rain. Monday, nothing but sunshine. 25 is the expected high. Strong wind gusts expected up to 50 kilometers on Monday and Tuesday. Mainly sunny, 24 degrees. And then we continue to see those mid to high 20 temperatures throughout the rest of the next week. Wednesday, 26, nothing but sunshine. Thursday, mainly sunny, 25. And by Friday, a mix of sun and cloud and 23 degrees. So still looking at summer temperatures. Summer conditions throughout the rest of the week.
Not too bad as we get set for September, and I don't want to say this for all the children out there, back to school time.
Maybe they're excited.
Yeah, I think maybe some of them are. Want to see their friends, so maybe you're right.
Why not?
Yeah. Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Have you ever done an IQ test? I haven't. You can tell, right? The average score usually between 90 to 109. The higher, of course, the better. Benjamin Franklin, Stephen Hawking were considered to have IQs around 160. As Tyler Barrow tells us, that was the score a 4-year-old boy in Calgary got on the world's most famous IQ test for his age group.
Peru, this one, Algeria.
After seeing their flags, Ali Aldalawi can list dozens of countries. His smarts don't end there.
He's also very funny, loud, creative, and curious. You will have to come down here. No, I will.
He's now 5 years old and already reading with ease, but he can also crunch numbers quickly, which is what he prefers.
Math or reading?
Math.
He's shy, but also super smart. Last fall, Ali scored 160 IQ, putting him in the top 0.1% of his age group. According to Mensa, the world's oldest high IQ society, a score of 100 is considered average. You only get to become a member if you're in the top 2% of the population or 130 IQ or higher.
As a mom and, as parents, I was so proud, to be honest.
Hassan knows from the age of 2, Ali was curious and liked to build new things, using his imagination while asking questions beyond his age. That's why she had him take an IQ test.
Not only just a deep question, but he likes also to know the way or the things, how, connect with each other.
And it runs in the family. His 10-year-old brother Omar and 7-year-old sister are Mensa members. Their parents are earning their PhDs in computer science and petroleum engineering at the University of Calgary. When Ali gained entry last December, at the time, only one other 4-year-old was a member in Canada.
They see patterns well on IQ tests, but they see it in life. They see it in math. They see the pattern in reading.
But Ali still enjoys being a kid. His favorite soccer player is Cristiano Ronaldo, which also explains his haircut.
As a mom, I feel happy, and I feel he will do very well.
Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead after missing the last 6 games with a broken bone in his forearm, James Letcher Jr. is hoping to return kicks once again this week.
Here's what's happening in our community. Regina Victory Church will have their Summer Fest on August 22nd at 11 a.m. at 1825 Victoria Avenue East. For all the details, head to reginavictory.com. And a craft and trade show will be held on August 22nd at 2 p.m. at McNaughton Park in Regina. For all the details, head to rpcaregina.ca. Submit your event to our community by visiting our website, ctvregina.ca, and click Community Calendar or scan the QR code on your screen.
Riders receiver Samuel Emelis might not be the only player looking to return to the lineup this week. O-linemen Zach Fry and Daniel Johnson back practicing this week, as is defensive lineman Ali Saad. Returner James Letcher Jr. also taking reps. He's been out of the lineup since breaking his forearm in Week 4 versus Toronto. Letcher was averaging 24 yards on each kickoff return, about 14 yards per punt. He required surgery with a couple screws and a plate put in his arm to heal, and he is hoping this will finally be the week.
Coming off 6 with Letch, is you're trying to get the best idea, see if we can give as many reps as possible, see what they can handle, see if they feel like they can do it, and then ultimately, sit down and talk with the docs to see what that looks like. So kind of the same boat, man. We'll see what that looks like for them towards the end of the week.
Whenever I first got back on the field, it was a little rough, just for being out so long, not being able to do certain things while my arm was hurting, but it took a couple of days and I was back to where I was supposed to be.
Letcher has played only one game at BC Place. That was back in 2024, where he had a 66-yard kickoff return as a Montreal Alouette. And Corey Mace paid tribute to one of the team's all-time greats yesterday, and when asked about it, delivered perhaps one of his best quotes of the season.
Oh, man, I woke up and just felt like looking sweet, I guess. So shout out to Bobby, I guess. I bought this in the off season, and it was just sitting in the office, and I said, I'm going to throw it on today. That's about it. We got to get him here, though. I haven't met the guy.
Yeah, he's got Bobby Jurisen's 71 jersey he's wearing. Says they never met, so now this probably needs to happen one time. Reminder that the Riders face the Lions, 5 o'clock, TSN, Sunday. And don't look now, but after trading away a few of their veteran pieces, the Toronto Blue Jays are very much in the AL wildcard race.
Whoa, here is a blast to left field. Hammered on out of here by Kazuma Okamoto, and the Blue Jays take the lead.
Toronto, they beat Tampa Bay 5-1 yesterday for their 7th straight series win. The Jays are a half game back for the final wild card spot tonight. They're going to be in the Bronx to face the New York Yankees, who they won that series a couple series ago. Mason Fluharty getting a start. Still ahead, why the biggest challenge for Canadian booze makers might be our own trade rules.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your rural forecast for tomorrow. Nothing but sunshine and very warm temperatures continuing across Saskatchewan. Mid to high 20s, even some 30s expected in rural Saskatchewan. 30 degrees for Outlook and Kindersley with a mix of sun and cloud. 28 for Watrous, Meadow Lake, Lloydminster. Watrous expecting some cloudier conditions. Spiritwood 27, 26 for Wynyard, and Hudson Bay and Melfort 25 degrees and mainly sunny. Closer to the southern border are much of the same. Some areas expecting some cloudier conditions like Maple Creek, East End Cypress, mostly cloudy, but 31 for Maple Creek, 33 for Leader, 30 for Coronach, 28 for East End Cypress, Pilot Butte, and Lumsden, but sunnier conditions there. 29 for Rock Glen, Assiniboia, 30. I think I already said Roseanne, 31, 24 for Carlisle, Kenora, and Broadview, 25 degrees. If we take a closer look at La Flèche in the southwest, about 140 kilometers southwest of Moose Jaw, 30 degrees tomorrow for La Flèche and surrounding areas. Nothing but sunshine throughout the whole day and winds picking up to about 35 kilometers an hour, but still a very warm day expected.
Some Regina City bus routes are going back to 11th Avenue downtown starting on Sunday. Regina Transit says the move is intended to give additional downtown access for riders on the Hillsdale, Walsh Acres, Heritage, and Arcola Express routes. Victoria Park will continue to be the main downtown transfer point for other routes as construction work on 11th continues. A few lists of updated bus routes and schedules can be found on the city website. Well, with American liquor poised to make a resurgence on Canadian store shelves elsewhere, of course, they've been here in Saskatchewan for a bit, local distillers continue to face challenges selling their products in Canada. Alison Bamford has more on the stubborn roadblocks to interprovincial trade.
From the backyard fruit bushes to the golden grain fields, 95% of the ingredients in these whiskey and gin bottles are locally grown. Some of it even aged in Canadian oak barrels.
We're pretty proud of these guys.
Co-owner Barb Stefanishin Cote says the emphasis on Canadian-made at Black Fox Distillery came long before the trade war.
We get to showcase what we can do here. That's what's important.
But selling the homegrown product at home is harder than it sounds.
It has been easier to ship into other countries than it has been to ship into other provinces.
About 20% of Black Fox's products are shipped overseas. The rest is sold domestically throughout the prairies, leaving most of the Canadian market untapped. But the requirements to get their products on those shelves vary and usually mean added paperwork and costs.
If those markets open up, there's a huge potential for us.
Recent changes allow producers to ship alcohol directly to consumers across the country, but the Canadian Federation of Independent Business says that only attracts a small percentage of customers, and producers would be better off if alcohol was added to the Canadian Mutual Recognition Agreement.
It would essentially allow a product that's produced in one province and approved in one province to be approved anywhere across Canada without the additional fees.
Distillers here say the push to buy Canadian, especially within the liquor industry, brought on a noticeable increase of domestic sales. And they hope that sentiment continues even after American booze is put back on the shelves.
I think what they're finding is Canadians make some pretty darn good products, and now they're happy to support us.
Support that she says would only grow if her products were in stores across the country. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Canola street price down $8.70, $747.15 per ton. The futures price down more than $20. It's now under the 800 mark per ton. Amber Durham wheat, no movement, $276.15 per ton. Red spring wheat jumped up $1.35 to $288.71 per ton. Feed barley, $203.59 per ton, and flax is $610.54 per ton. The markets both going up. The TSX up 254 points, the Dow Jones by 517 points. The Canadian dollar, it dropped a little more than 1/10 of a cent to 72.63 cents U.S. On a commodity front, gold up $86.49. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 23 cents. Western Canadian Select crude was up a little more. Anything you can do, I do better. West Texas up 57 cents. And gas in Regina currently sitting at $1.76.9 cents per liter. Yikes.
Sales hit just over $74 billion in June, with general merchandise retailers getting the biggest boost. Clothing and jewelry retail also popped, up 3% month to month, but lower grocery purchases brought food and beverage retail down. Now in dollar amount, Ontario had the highest sales in June, Alberta the lowest. E-commerce sales were up almost 10% that month, hitting $5.7 billion. Roots will go private. Marquee Brands is partnering with JM and A Design to buy the iconic Canadian retailer for $4.10 a share. That's a 36% premium to the share price at the end of March, when Roots began exploring options to sell. Marquee already owns the Laura Ashley and BCBG brands. Reuters is reporting the CEO of Volkswagen saying deep cost cuts are needed to keep the car manufacturer in business. The German company is considering cutting tens of thousands of jobs or some divisions. Chinese competition in Europe and U.S. import tariffs have led to declining profits for VW. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Coming up tonight, we have a investigation by Avery Haynes at 7 o'clock, 2-hour special, followed by crime scene investigators, The Big Bang Theory at 10 o'clock, and then E-Talk. So a very dramatic 3 hours.
And then
deep dives.
And then you get The Big Bang Theory to lighten the mood.
If you like that sort of thing. A live album of performances from the Tragically Hip's final tour have been released. You could call it the premiere of it.
You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century.
The band embarked on their final tour a decade ago after frontman Gord Downie was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. They played in 15 cities across the country, performing their final show in their hometown of Kingston, Ontario, August 20th, 2016. Downie died just over a year later at the age of 53.
This was a decade ago?
Yeah. What is time?
Ugh.
Right?
It's going quick.
Well, the Toronto Zoo has revealed the name of its 3-week-old pygmy hippo calf.
Maple, or Mapal, depending on how you like to say it.
Oh, is that how we decided?
Was one of just 3 pygmy hippos in Canada, along with her parents. The zoo says her name celebrates the place she was born, by a tree in sap and maple. It was also introduced a limited edition pygmy plush toy. The name Maple on it. We want the plush toy, right?
Are you good?
What is good?
Oh, no.
What is time?
Thank you. 1. Have a great weekend.